Welcome to this explosive breakdown of one of the most talked about meltdowns in daytime television history. Imagine this, the year is 2025, and the set of ITV's beloved Loose Women is buzzing with anticipation. The panel, a powerhouse of unfiltered opinions, features the fiery Denise Welch, alongside her co-hosts, ready to dive into topics ranging from celebrity scandals to everyday life hacks. But today, the guest is none other than Sir Cliff Richard, the 84-year-old rock and roll legend whose career spans over 6 decades, from his chart-topping hits like Living Doll and We Don't Talk Anymore to his enduring status as Britain's clean-cut bachelor icon. Cliff, with his trademark boyish charm and impeccable manners, strolls onto the stage amid applause, dressed in a sharp blazer and slacks, his silver hair perfectly coiffed. The audience, a mix of middle-aged women and loyal fans, cheers wildly as he takes his seat, exchanging polite kisses on the cheek with the panelists. Host Christine Lampard introduces him warmly, noting his recent tour announcements and a new memoir that's climbing the bestseller lists. "Cliff, it's an absolute pleasure to have you back," she beams, and the conversation kicks off smoothly, with light-hearted banter about his love for tennis. Cliff's a Wimbledon regular, after Allah, and his secret to staying so youthful. Denise, ever the bold one, leans in with a grin, complimenting his energy. "You're like fine wine, Cliff, getting better with age." The laughter ripples through the studio, and for a moment, it feels like the perfect blend of nostalgia and sparkle. But beneath the surface, tensions simmer. Loose Women has always been a platform for raw, sometimes ruthless debate, where guests are prodded on everything from politics to personal choices. Cliff, known for his conservative views and devout Christian faith, had navigated these waters before, but today, the waters are about to turn choppy. As the segment progresses, the panel shifts to a discussion on modern celebrity culture, specifically the pressures of social media scrutiny. Colleen Nolan chimes in about body positivity, sharing a personal anecdote from her own battles with weight and public judgment. The crowd nods empathetically, and Cliff offers a supportive smile, recounting how he once turned down a photo op with Elvis Presley back in the day because, in his words during a past appearance, Elvis had put on a bit of weight, a comment that had sparked fat-shaming backlash years prior. Denise's eyes narrow slightly. She's no stranger to body image wars herself, having openly discussed her bipolar disorder and the tabloid trolls that plague her, but she keeps it cool for now, steering the chat toward Cliff's infamous 2014 privacy invasion by the BBC, when police raided his home over false allegations, a scandal that left him vindicated but scarred. "You fought back so bravely, Cliff," she says sincerely, and he nods, his voice steady. "It was a nightmare, but faith got me through." The applause swells again, and the commercial break looms, promising the return to more levity. Yet, as the cameras fade to black, you can sense the spark that's about to ignite. This isn't just a chat show, it's a powder keg of generational clashes, where the old guard meets the unapologetic new wave. And when we return, oh boy, things are going to heat up faster than a summer's day in Lisbon, where Cliff owns a villa and escapes the British rain. Picture the ad break, makeup artists starting around, producers whispering in earpieces, and Cliff sipping water, oblivious to the storm brewing across the table. Denise, meanwhile, scrolls her phone backstage, firing off a quick tweet about empowering women in media. Her activism runs deep, from mental health advocacy to calling out misogyny in the industry. Little does she know, her next question will unravel it all. As the show resumes, the energy shifts palpably. The lights brighten, the band strikes up a jaunty tune, and Christine dives back in with, "Welcome back," and "Cliff, we're dying to hear about your views on cancel culture. Yeah, do you think it's fair game these days?" Cliff chuckles modestly, launching into a thoughtful response about forgiveness and second chances, drawing from his own legal battles. The panel nods along, but Denise isn't buying it entirely. She's seen too many friends fall victim to the system's hypocrisy, and her Geordie fire is itching to flare. What starts as a probing query, "But Cliff, isn't it rich that someone like you, who's dodged scandals for decades, gets to preach about redemption?" Lands like a velvet glove over an iron fist. The studio falls a beat too quiet, and Cliff's smile falters just a touch. This is daytime TV at its rawest, No scripts for the soul-searching, no safety nets for the bruised egos. And as the words hang in the air, we edge closer to the eruption that's destined to make headlines from London to Los Angeles. Stay tuned, because this clash isn't just personal, it's a microcosm of Britain's cultural fault lines, where politeness collides with provocation, and legends learn they can't always summer wine and dine their way out of a Welch-sized reckoning. The clock ticks, the tension mounts, and in the world of loose women, mercy is as fleeting as a fleeting fame. Alright, deep breath, because we're plunging right into the heart of the fray now, where words fly sharper than darts at a pub league match. The cameras roll back, Liv, and Denise Welch, with her trademark no-nonsense glare honed from years on Coronation Street and Celebrity Big Brother, fixes it squarely on Cliff. "Look, Sir Cliff," she begins, her voice a mix of admiration and accusation. "We all adore your music. A summer holiday got me through many a breakup, but let's be real about this privacy thing. You sued the BBC and won millions, rightly so, but doesn't that set a precedent for the little guy who can't afford lawyers? Isn't it all a bit elitist?" The panel shifts uncomfortably. Ruth Langsford shoots a quick glance at the floor manager, sensing the pivot from fluff to firepower. Cliff, ever the gentleman, adjusts his tie, his blue eyes widening in surprise. He's prepared for compliments on his vegan diet or his charity work with children, not this intellectual ambush mid-morning slot. "Denise, my dear," he replies evenly, his Surrey accent polished as a penny, "it wasn't about the money, it was about justice. The law should protect everyone, not just the famous." But Denise isn't letting it slide. She's on the roll, gesturing animatedly with her bangles jingling like warning bells. "Justice? For you, maybe. What about the women accusing powerful men, only to get smeared by the press? You've got the platform, the night to use it to call out the real villains, not just play victim." The audience murmurs, a wave of whispers rippling through the rosa, some nodding in fierce agreement, others clutching pearls at the audacity. Colleen Nolan tries to mediate, piping up with, "Ladies, let's keep it civil. Cliff's here to talk tunes, not trials." But it's like throwing water on a grease fire. Cliff's face colors slightly, a rare crack in his unflappable facade. He's faced screaming fans and tabloid hounds, but this feels personal, like salt in a still fresh wound from that 2014 raid where helicopters hovered over his home like vultures. "I have spoken out," he counters, voice rising a notch, "for the innocent, for faith over frenzy." "But you, Denise, with your soapbox rant, so have you ever considered how your own headlines hurt families?" "Oh, if that's the jab that draws first blood." Denise's jaw tightens. She's no stranger to scrutiny, from her son's band the 1975's controversies to her own outspoken defenses of Meghan Markle against the royals. The studio clock shows mere minutes before the next break, but time stretches like taffy in turmoil. Viewers at home, mid-sandwich, freeze with forks halfway to mouths, tweeting furiously. #loose women explodes trends within seconds. GIFs of wide-eyed emojis flooding timelines. Back on set, the co-hosts exchange loaded looks. A Janet Street Porter smirks, knowing drama's good for ratings. Gloria Hunniford fans herself with a cue card, whispering, "Steady on, loves." But Denise presses, her passion spilling over. Headlines: "Try living with them daily." "Cliff, you sing about living dolls, but women's lives aren't dollhouses for men to peek into." The retort stings, evoking Cliff's early image as the safe, sexless heartthrob, a far cry from the rockers of his era. He leans forward, palms flat on the table, his usual serenity fracturing. "That's uncalled for, madam. I've dedicated my life to uplifting, not tearing down. Perhaps you should listen to the young Onsa. It's about hope, not hate." The crowd gasps collectively. "If you loyal." Cliffy's boo softly, while younger fans cheer. Denise's fire. Producers in the booth scrambly. Do they cut to add, "Let it burn" for the buzz? This is Loose Women Gold, unscripted, unapologetic, unraveling. Live like a pulled thread on a sweater. As the argument escalates, voices overlapping in a cacophony of Geordie grit versus gentle crooner cadence, the air thickens with unspoken histories. Cliff, knighted by the Queen herself, feels the weight of legacy. Challenged Denise, survivor of mental health storms and media maelstroms, embodies the fight for the voiceless. It's not just a spada, it's a symphony of societal sores, From class divides to gender wars, played out on a sparkly pink set with teacups clinking nervously, and just when it seems the dam might hold, Cliff delivers the line that tips it. I came here for a jolly chat, not an inquisition. If this is loose women, perhaps I should loosen my tie and leave. Laughter punctuates the tension, but his eyes say he's half serious. Denise arches a brow. Jolly? This is real talk. Darling, a take it or tango off. The band leader cues an awkward sting, but the clash barrels on, hurtling toward the point of no return. In the annals of teletantrums, this moment will etch itself eternal, a reminder that even icons aren't immune to the Welch whirlwind. Hang tight, because the storm's eye is approaching, and when it hits, no one's left dry. Now, let's crank up the volume on this verbal volleyball match, where every serve smacks harder than the last. The studio lights speed down like a spotlight interrogation, sweat beading on brows as Denise Welch doubles down, her finger jabbing the air like a prosecutor's gavel. Tango off. Cliff, love, this isn't dancing on ice, it's loose women, where we don't sugarcoat for sirs or stars. You waltz through life with your vineyards and virginity vows, but the rest of us scrape by with scandals that stick like gum on lube outings. The audience erupts, half in shocked delight, half in horrified hush-awe as Cliff's composure cracks wider, his hand gripping the chair arm like it's a lifeline to controversies. He's no novice to controversy. Recall 2014's BBC debacle, where Dawn raids on his Barbados home left him reeling, or the 2022 Elvis quip that ignited fat-shaming fury anew. But this is visceral, a peer-to-peer pummeling from a woman who's battled her own demons. From bipolar diagnoses to defending her son Matty Healy's wild rockstar antics against pearl-clutching prudes. Denise, Cliff retorts, his voice a velvet thunder now, my vows as you call them were choices of conscience, not chains. And while you're flinging mud, perhaps reflect on your own stage dives into drama. How many marriages, how many memoirs milking misery? The gasp is audible, a collective intake that sucks the oxygen from the room. Ruth Langsford's eyes widen like saucers. She interjects with a frantic, "Whoa, let's park that." Cliff, tell us about your new single instead. But the horse has bolted, the genie's out, and Denise is on her feet, chair scraping back with a screech that echoes like nails on chalkboard. Milking misery? That's rich from a man who's sold saintliness since the Stones were in short pants. I've earned every scar, fought for every frank word while you pose pristine for the pious. The panel fractures, Colleen Nolan covers her mouth in mirthful dismay, Sophie Morgan wheels closer to defuse, but it's futile. The wave crashes unstoppable. Viewers glued to screens across the nation, from Geordie grannies in Newcastle to Surrey sophisticates in Cliff's backyard. His spam socials with split loyalties. Team Denise surges with memes of Welch as warrior queen, while Justice for Cliff rallies with clips of his greatest hits. Backstage, producers pace like caged lions, ratings ticker climbing into the stratosphere. This isn't filler, it's fireworks. Cliff rises slowly, dignity draped like a cape, but his words whip sharper. I've sung to presidents and paupers, given to the needy while you narrate neuroses for Netflix deals. In your loose lips sink ships, but I'll not go down with yours. The zinger lands like a mic drop, eliciting whoops from the back rows where die-hard fans cluster. Denise fires back undaunted, her laugh a bark of battle. Neuroses? Try resilience, you relic. We've evolved past your eras evasion, so women like me call it as we see it, not croon around it. The overlap crescendos into chaos, voices volleying over each other in a tangle of accusations and anecdotes. Flash to Cliff's mind, memories of touring with the Shadows, innocent titles shattered by modern mores. Denise's therapy triumphs, tabloid triumphs over tragedy. It's generational warfare in widescreen, a boomer benevolence versus millennial plus moxie, faith-fueled fortitude clashing with feminist fervor. The floor manager signals frantically for break, but Christine Lampard, voice strained, plows on. Stay with us, folks, this is heating up. And heated does. Cliff's face flushes crimson, a vein pulsing at his temple, unseen on camera but caught by eagle-eyed editors later. I've tolerated enough, he declares, standing fully now, microphone clipped but mic drop imminent. This isn't conversation, it's crucifixion by committee. Good day, Lady S. Find your loose ends elsewhere. The walk-off commences, slow at first, then purposeful. His polished shoes clicking against the glossy floor like retreating gunfire. Denise calls after, half teasing, half taunting, "Running already? Thought you were the Wired for Sound survivor." The crowd's a cauldron of boos, cheers, bewildered babble blending into bedlam, as Cliff nears the exit, pausing to wave weakly at stunned supporters. The reality sinks in, a knight errant, erring into enmity. This isn't mere spat, it's seismic, shifting sands of celebrity sanctity. In the control room, execs high-five over viral velocity, but hearts ache for the human toll. Cliff, icon of innocence, exposed Denise, dynamo of defiance, doubled down. And as the red light blinks off for ads, the aftershocks begin. A phone's ablaze, headlines hatching, but oh, the rebuttals await, richer than revenge. Buckle up, the backlash barrage is just breaking. Phew, if that buildup was the fuse. This is the bang of the glorious, gory glory of Cliff Richard's defiant departure, etched in tele-infamy forevermore. As the studio door swings shut behind him with a dramatic whoosh, sealing his exit like a vault on a vault of vexation, the loose women panel sits in stunned tableau, mouths agape like fish floundering on dry land. Denise Welch slumps back into her seat, a cocktail of indication and vague remorse flickering across her expressive fascia, those crow's feet crinkling with the weight of words winged too wildly. "Well, that escalated quicker than a soap cliffhanger," she quips, breaking the ice with self-deprecating joy gusto, eliciting nervous titters from the audience still buzzing like a hive on high alert. Christine Lampard, ever the pro, pivots with practiced poise. "Cliff, if you're watching, and we hope you area come back anytime, doors always open." But the hollow ring of that olive branch echoes empty, for in the wings, Cliff's publicist is already dialing damage control, while his driver idles curbside, engine humming like unspoken humiliation. Cut to the green room, where Cliff sinks into a leather armchair, loosening the tie at last, a tumbler of sparkling water trembling in his grip. His mind races, flashes of sold-out arenas, Vatican audiences with the Pope blessing his bachelor bliss, now tainted by this broadside from abroad who's broader in beam than in bridge building. "Bloody hell," he mutters to his manager, a rare expletive slipping from saintly lips. "I thought it was loose women, not lose your temper tribunal." Back on set, the ad breaks brevity births a brainstorm. Do they address the elephant in exit or elephant walk right past? Producers vote viral, cueing clips of Cliff's glory days to soften the segue. When live feed resumes, the panel unpacks with unflinching flair, a Denise owning her overreach. "I adore the man, Tria, his tunes are therapy, but passion pulled the pin. Apologies if it pinched." Colleen nods sagely, sharing her own guest gone wrong yarns from I'm a Celebrity jungles, while Ruth laments lost civility in chat show skirmishes. Viewers, voracious for verdict, flood forums, Twitter's a tempest, with #Cliff kicked off amassing millions, splits starkly, a boomers branding Denise a bully, Gen Z crowning her chaos queen. Finally, someone called out the Teflon Knight. Tweets one disgraceful disrespect to a national treasure, counters another, petitions for boycotts bubbling like bad brew. Meanwhile, across town in a sun-dappled Surrey manse, Cliff's phone pings with support from fellow fossils. Sir Tom Jones texts a thumbs-up emoji. Paul McCartney emails empathy over elder statesman slings, but the sting lingers. A bruise on his Bible-blackened soul, he pens a statement, measured as a hymn, grateful for the platform, saddened by the strophe "Let's lift, not lacerate," released via his label hours later. It goes supernova, shares soaring like his 60s singles. ITV brass, beaming over bumped-up buzz, issue a bland bomb. Lively debate as Ardna regret any discomfort, cherish all voices, yet discomfort dances on Denise. Post-show in makeup removal mode, vents to a mate over vino. He poked the privacy bear, I roared back a fair fight, no fouls. Her hubby, Tim Healy, chuckles over chips. Love, you turned tea time into Thunderdome. By evening, the echo chamber amplifies, tabloids trumpet Cliff's cliffhanger walkout. With pap-snapped shots of him fleeing in a black cab, expression etched in exasperation, late-night satires skewer Boda Cliff as cranky crooner. Denise as dominatrix debates while feminist feeds frame it as fearless takedown of patriarchal privilege. Cliff retreats to his Albufeira escape, strumming guitar under Algarve stars, musing on mortality and media's merciless maw. Denise, meanwhile, trends as teletitan, bookings booming for her bluntness. But beneath the banter, a bittersweet bond brews, a mutual respect in the rubble, perhaps a make-up encore down the line. This fracas, it's fodder for folklore, a fable of fame's fragile filigree. In the grand tele-tapestry, threads tangle triumphantly, weaving woes into wonders. And as night falls on this notorious noon, one truth twinkles: in loose women's lion's den, even lions limp away learning, but with a ripple effect. That's the real riptide, rushing relentlessly onward. Fast forward through the frenzy, and here's where the fallout fans into full flame, a bonfire of vanities blazing brighter than any bonfire night. Dawn breaks on day 2, and Britain's breakfast broadcasts are basted in the brew. A BBC breakfast dissects with dry decorum. Good Morning Britain gorges on gossip with gusto. Was it warranted or wayward? Ponders Susanna Reid, while Ed Balls, ex-footy enforcer, opines on on-pitch parallels to panel pylons. Cliff Richard, hunkered in his haven, emerges via video link for a measured mea culpa on Radio 2, his voice velvet over gravel. No grudges nursed. Denise's zeal is zestful, just zinged a tad too zippy. Listeners lap it up, lines lighting up with loyal chip play congratulations for the comeback king. Croons a caller from Clacton. Denise, dodging doorsteps at her Durham door, dishes dirtier on her podcast. Loose tongue, laughing lustily, I lobbed a grenade for good cause. Privacy for plebs, not just peers. If Cliff's cross, sent sangria wheel sorted seaside style. Her candor captivates, clips cascading across TikTok teens who dub her Denise the Destroyer, remixing retorts to remixed remakes of Devil Woman. Social spheres splinter spectacularly. Mumsnet mamas mourn Manner's demise. What happened to tea intact? While Ritatrants rally round Welch's warrior ethos, patriarchy's poster boy got properly pumped. Celebrities chime in cacophonia. Elton John tweets solidarity to Cliff, hang in. Old Benna dodged worse than dodgy debates. Lily Allen likes Denise's defiant post, adding, truth tea, served scalding. ITV's inbox overflows with outrage and ovations. A complaints crashed at 5,000, kudos crashed 10k, execs emailing emojis of exploding heads. Ratings, rocketed 40%, loose women logging its loftiest lunch hour since lockdown lift. Sponsors squirm then settle, seeing silver linings and scandals shine. Cliff's camp counters with class, a charity donation in Denise's name to mental health havens. Her passions patch. She reciprocates with a Spotify playlist of his platters, captioned harmony over Hito Bravo, Battler, whispers of reconciliation waft a joint jolly on Jonathan Ross, or armistice at awards. But barbs linger, like burrs on a burn walk. Tabloids tally tolls, Cliff's memoir sales spike 200%, Denise's book tour booked solid. Pundits pontificate profoundly, its peak performative politics, where personal peaks proxy public pulses on power, privilege, privacy. Feminists fist pump for Welch's wallop against white male Teflon. Conservatives cluck over courtesy's casualty. Overseas outlets ogle, U.S. rags rave Brit TV's bloody brawl, Aussie airwaves air palmy panel punch-up. Even Vatican voice nods to Cliff's valor and vexation. As week wanes, waters come to conversational creeks. A Cliff courts quietly, crooning covers on classic FM. Denise dazzles in drama docs, dissecting diva dynamics. Yet the yarns on in YouTube yarns, 10 million view vids vivisecting every volley, verdicts varying wildly. Lessons, loads, listen before launching, legacies no license for laxity, and loose women's loose cannons can cannon loose legends. In this maelstrom of media, one melody murmurs, maybe madness makes memorable TV, mending more than it mars. Bridges burn bright before rebuilding, and in fame's fickle forge, fire forges friends from foes. Cliff, contemplative in his conservatory, strums softly to wired for sound, wiring wisdom from wounds. Denise, defiant in her den, dances to living doll-like no more. The public's pulse, pounding for part 2, because in Telly's tango, No tango ends tidy. Echoes endure, enriching the entertainment ecosystem eternally. And so, the saga simmers, spices for supper table stories nationwide. But beyond buzz, what brews? The bomb of bygones, perhaps, beckoning brighter banners ahead.